Hey, this is Susan Blanton with the Create Happy Now podcast, and welcome back to the Intuitive Masters of Happiness series. Good news, this is the 13th episode of 20. We have 7 more after today. We have been exploring what your intuition is and how to connect with yours, and all the magic that happens when you strengthen your intuition. So make sure to stay tuned every Wednesday as we feature one guest interview from the Intuitive Masters of Happiness conference that we held back in February of this year, 2023. We had such an awesome turnout. We want to make all 20 interviews available to you in audio version on the Create Happy Now podcast and YouTube channel. Now, if you want to watch the interviews rather than just listen to the audio version, you can download all 20 interviews today to have in your own library for $27.95, which is $20 off the VIP access package that was offered in February. You can go to my website, createhappynow.com, and go to the events tab to get your download today. Now, before I get to my next guest, for those of you who struggle with quieting your mind and want to be able to do it easier and more creative way and learn how to start your journey to happiness, abundance, peace, and purpose and say yes to life every day, I want to remind you that I have a new meditation app coming out this summer that is designed to do just that. I also have a new meditation YouTube channel. Both are called Create Happy Meditations. Now, if you would like to be on the waiting list for the app, go to my website, createhappynow.com, and click on the meditation app tab and sign up today. Last week, Kelly Sital and I talked about how to trust your intuition more and more. My next guest is Maria Grossbaum. Maria and I are both artists, and she, like me, believes that creativity has the power to awaken, empower, heal, and transform. And she knows deep down that creative expression is a crucial part of holistic well-being. Maria's online courses offer a well-lit path back to your creative spirit through expert guidance, inspiring content, loving encouragement, and community support. Here is the director's cut, getting you down to her juicy wisdom about encouraging listeners, all ages, artist or not, to create, paint, draw, anything as a very strong tool to build and strengthen your intuition. Well, Maria, I am so happy that you're here today, and I've taken your classes and they're just amazing. And it's so wonderful to have an artist on the show today, because I wanted you to explain, because you teach intuitive type painting, and I wanted people to understand that you don't have to be an artist to create and to enjoy the benefits of creating, right? And so I
Absolutely,
yeah, so I thought maybe that you could kind of go into that. And how did you start going into intuitive painting? I mean, not everybody starts there as an artist, when you really make the intent to become an artist. But people often can, because I know I ventured into intuitive painting and from realism, and it's an adjustment, but I want people to know that you can start out intuitive if you want to, especially if you're not an artist. So I thought you could go ahead and start with your story and how you got started and how it evolved into what you're doing today.
Well, that's a wonderful question. But first of all, let me thank you for being such a loyal student. It is really great. I hope you enjoyed my classes. And definitely an intuitive part of my school is important, but I didn't start with it. I intuitively came to it because the challenge was to develop a personal, authentic style of myself first, and then to let my students to also find their, this little specifics that make their painting very recognizable. Okay, so I came from very academic background, when you have like a brush with one hair and you create realistic, photorealistic, paintings, which is a great school. I'm not saying it's a bad practice, but if we talk, in a music language, right? From classical music, you want to play jazz, and jazz comes from intuition. Of course, there are also rules, right? But as a musician, because I'm a musician, I play bass. But if you want to play jazz, you need to forget about everything you know, and then you need to learn how to listen to your intuition. And it's not just that, it's to analyze what your intuition is telling you and then be able to create, actually to put your internal voice on the substrate, whatever you're using, maybe paper, maybe canvas, or maybe it's a sculpture, whatever you do. Okay, so this is it. Because the idea and the concept of my school is this: you don't have to spend years after years in the Academy of Arts. Everyone, no matter what level of experience, or if you have, whether you have talent or you don't have talent, everyone has rights to enjoy creative process, and especially when it's intuitive, because whatever is intuitive, it's totally you, and being you is a joy, because when you is you, meaning that you have a really great connection with yourself, and this connection allows you really to understand what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what you want to wear, what you want to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like in little things, and especially when it comes to artistic self-expression. So this is what happened. So from academic approach, I ended up with just doodling, with closed eyes. This is one of my exercises of the intuitive class, because I developed specifically an intuitive class that starts with warming up, when you have to turn off your internal, like sensor, and create from heart. I don't know where intuition is, heart, the mind, or like where bomb, I don't know, but somewhere.
Right. I mean, it's all about the movement and the getting in the zone. That's where it happens for me. I think any painter, no matter what you do, whether it's realism or intuitive art, but if you are an artist in any way, shape, or form, you get to that point where you just tap into the zone, and the zone is you're using your intuition to create. I mean, I know, like, when I start a painting, I'm not taught. I'm just self-taught, and but I do like
Even better. You have
photo
less limits.
looking, like it's very realism. But when I start, I'm like, I don't know if I know how to do this anymore. And then, I just go like, I'll just keep going. I got to get this done. Because I do everything by custom. And when I start, it's just clunky. It's clunky because I'm using my brain, I'm
Right.
using, it's not my intuition, because my brain, I can't do it like my intuition can. And so then once I finally just kind of let go, and it starts to come, and then I don't know, I back up. It's just like, it's almost like I'll be painting, and I don't even have to change colors, and the painting just starts to happen no matter where I paint. It's weird. And and then I'll back up and go, whoa, I did that. No, I didn't do that. I did that, but I did it, with my own alignment in the zone.
Right.
And I have to get credit to that connection. And
Right.
and
Yeah.
if I haven't painted in a while, I get kind of cranky because that connection is
You
so
feel irritated. Yeah,
healing.
you need this zone. Yes, absolutely. You
Yeah.
know what really resonated with me? This really fantastic scientist and inventor, Nikola Tesla,
Yeah.
like the car.
Yeah.
So he said that the question was, why you never write, formulas? We never see you writing, all kind of calculations and stuff like that, because he invented so many things, right?
Yeah.
He was really advanced. He was so, like, at least 100 years ahead of his time in innovations. So he said, well, I don't know how it has happened. I'm some kind of like a station that translates some kind of information that comes through my mind. And my task is just to, like write it down, like fixate it, and then to translate it into my inventions. And I think it's brilliant. And that really describes to me what it is to work from intuition. And there is another sign that says that whether I'm creating intuitively or not is a joy. Because whenever it comes intuitively, meaning I'm connected to myself, to my internal artist or whatever you call it, if I feel joy, meaning I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing, I'm connected. And this is it. And that's what I tell my students. Please, 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 if you feel that you're losing it, meaning like you're getting out of the zone that we mentioned before, take a break, go for a walk, come back. Even 5 minutes make a big difference. Or if you don't have to torture yourself. It's not about, like finalizing everything in one day, right? Because that's art. Like, for example, here I'm working on my new class and I'm creating these mushrooms.
Oh, wow. That
mushrooms.
Is cool.
I know. I mean, it's three-dimensional. I really like sculpting them. I sculpt one by one. So it's going to be a new class. So this is a model painting that is still in progress. Okay. And why did I wanted to tell you this? Because it takes a long time. I don't push myself. Each time I feel I'm in the zone means that I can really, really find all the questions to all the answers. Because my aim as an art instructor is to be able to translate complex techniques and materials into something very, very simple, and so that everyone can do and everyone can enjoy and everyone can really feel the intuition too. Okay. But I also developed a class that dedicated only to intuitive creation. And this class was a big success and it was very popular and it opened so many doors. It's just fantastic to see what people create. It's like almost getting naked in front of others, like, because
Right.
you take everything out from your intuition, like technically without analyzing good, bad, advanced, maybe childish, maybe, all kind of things. It's like you are really who you are,
That
and
raw
this is
part of
amazing.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And
amazing
the
what
thing
people discover.
is that if you start to judge, you know that you're pulling out of your intuitional. Is that a word?
I think so. Yeah, intuitive,
Intuitional? I don't know.
intuitional. Let's use
It's a new
intuitional.
word.
I
I'm
like it.
gonna call Webster tomorrow. Um, you know you're backing out of your intuition alignment when you're starting to judge what you're putting on the canvas or what you're creating. I mean, you can judge it in the fact that, okay, well, what would I like to do next? Or, making the next decision, or, and it's not really a decision, it's more of a flow. But if you're coming out and saying, oh, that looks horrible, that's not your intuition talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is, and that's why I say you have to forget everything in order to start. Even you have a lot of experience in specific activity. So it is hardest thing to do. It is like there's a muscle that was never trained, right? But you just give it a try again and again and again, and this way you master the skill of listening to yourself. Because you know what we tend, I'm sure many other people too, we tend to trust other people's opinion but not ours, really, right? So, and also we were taught that it is very important to be humble. You cannot say, oh, I've created a beautiful painting, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you really created something that is answering your questions, your artistic intuition, if you allow me, right, then you don't really care what others are going to think. It could be really strange. It could be a dot in the middle of a canvas. It could be some kind of like line. That's it. But if you feel, like,
If it
happy
gave
with
you
this,
joy and you felt a
exactly,
connection, and
exactly, you
some
don't
people,
care what people think.
and there are some artists out there, intuitive artists, that you see them in galleries. I mean, I get caught up. Sometimes I'll see them and I get caught in it, like just almost starting to feel like the artist in where they were and the feeling that they had at the time that they were doing their painting. I mean, that that's kind of weird but fun and interesting, and so people could see a piece of art and go, "Ooh, I don't like it." But other people might connect to it because they're just connecting to it because maybe their intuition is on the same wavelength as theirs. So it's definitely the judgment part. Don't judge yourself as an artist, or judge yourself as an intuitive artist, or judge yourself whether
Don't judge other artists too.
or yeah, don't judge yourself at all. Like, just be free and do it and create and have fun with it. And if you don't like it, then start something else. But it's a peaceful, from all the students that I've had, when I've taught painting at classes as well, they're like, "Gosh, this is so relaxing," and it is. Whether it's a hobby or something you just get fully engrossed in, I like getting fully engrossed in it, where I'm just in the flow, and it's a time of being. I like to paint by myself. I also like to paint with others, but I do like to paint alone mostly, because then I can get deeper into what I'm doing. Do you feel that
Right.
same way?
Oh, totally, totally. It's like I'm being in my own temple. This is my temple. This is I'm myself. I'm a shrine. I'm not religious or anything like this, but I do get the joy, or I get into this very cool meditative mood. And actually, even now, I'm very, very lucky. I live close to the Dead Sea. I'm in Israel. I mean, I'm Torontonian. It's a long story, but 20 years in Toronto, but now I moved to Israel to help my family. So I live very close to the Dead Sea, and Dead Sea is surrounded by most amazing desert.
Wow.
And to me, yeah, it's being intuitive. It's almost like traveling, like walking in this desert. There is everything in its place, and it's just absolutely, like, I don't know, it's a vast, fantastic area that makes me feel like I'm flying, like I feel so happy. So yeah, like almost like I'm flying. I don't know how to explain it. So it gives me a lot of inspiration, first of all, and my art changed since I moved. And also that's the kind of feeling I get when I do it, intuitively. Okay. I'm also taking like an academic classes now, because I really want to master certain things, and I do enjoy it a lot, but I can really compare how I feel when I do something that my teacher tells me, and I mean, it's very, like, I wouldn't say very conservative, but still very, very classic. But when I create for myself, intuitively, it's just like I can compare it to this like feeling of happiness, of flight, of unlimited freedom. I love it so much. So
Now, have
this,
you go ahead,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the only way really to find my personal touch, my unique style. Because as I said, if you want to play jazz, forget everything and practice, listen to yourself, and then you will find this really cool, little things that will make your playing, or if you're an artist, make your art recognizable, authentic, right? Because
Mhm.
it's all about being authentic, and being authentic means being happy. Just as your logo, Intuitive Masters of Happiness Conference, right?
Yeah.
Masters of Happiness. It's brilliant. It's simple, but it just describes in 4-5 words the whole concept of being intuitive. Anyway,
How
I'm thinking about this. I'm so excited, like getting in this mood.
how have you translated your being able to find that intuitive zone in painting? How have you used that throughout the rest of your life experiences, and how's it benefited you?
I think it just gives a lot of benefits to all kind of aspects of my life, because being intuitive creating intuitively means being able to connect to myself, and that helps me in many other things, whether I have to take decision, or sometimes be very I'm not very well, how you say it in English, undecisive, indecisive. It's sometimes hard for me to make a decision, but knowing what it's like to be intuitive and what it's like to be able to listen to my internal voice helps me to take sometimes difficult decisions, and makes me kind of like a stronger person in many ways. And it is fantastic. Even when I'm driving my car, I'm not driving my car intuitively. Don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm obeying all the rules and stuff. But intuition, when I'm so into driving, and I love driving, I love it so much. I can kind of predict even behavior of other drivers and to avoid some, problematical situations. And it's all because of the intuition. It's fantastic. Or when I cook, I never cook according to specific recipe. I cook as an artist, like I think, oh, this is going to work. I'm based on intuition only, and not always. Let me be frank. Not always.
Most of
I
the
have
time
a
it's
good
edible.
result. Yeah,
Sometimes
but
it
most of
really
the
tastes
times I
good.
love it. Most of the times people love it. I love it. Sometimes I exaggerate with spice, but still being intuitive, meaning really understanding myself. And that is just invaluable skill to have. So through art to happier life. Hmm?
I agree wholeheartedly. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days or off days. I mean, life comes at you, right?
Of
But I
course.
feel like having the intuition, you're kind of like, okay, what to do next? What do I do next?
Yeah,
And you tend to go through those troughs a little bit easier instead of going down and feeling like, oh, you're going to be stuck down there. You have that feeling that you're going to be able to go back up again rather quickly and bounce back.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, intuition tells you now you need to stop. Just don't do anything, or do something completely different. It's just saving your energy, and it's saving you to keep balance,
Mhm.
emotional, physical, and everything else. And yeah, as I just said, being able, learning how to create intuitively teaches you actually so many things. It has absolutely fantastic bonuses and benefits that apply to so many different aspects of your life, and it especially helps in the bad days.
Oh, especially
Especially,
that's what I've
you feel the
discovered
same?
to be the biggest benefit is that the drama kind of stopped happening as much, or if it did, it just kind of slipped right through it, more on an observation level rather than being fully immersed in it, because it just got I was just in a different place. It, I guess mentally from it because of where my intuition takes me.
Right, right, exactly. But it takes a lot of courage, because nobody teaches us how to rely on your intuition, because intuition is such a subtle thing, it's like lighter than air, lighter than smoke. I don't know how to explain it, right? But yeah, absolutely. Being able to rely on your intuition takes a lot of courage, especially in the beginning, because it's something that is it's very elusive,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes it will go against logic when your logic brain is like,
Most of the
that doesn't
times,
make
most
sense.
of the
Like,
times.
what the heck are you doing? No, don't do that. And your intuition is like, it's okay, just go for it. And you're like, but I told you,
Yeah,
like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to go. You're fine. Keep going. You're all right. And so it's just kind of
right,
finally kind of discerning between the two. And sometimes it's difficult, but when it's strong in your intuition, I mean, you have no question. It just drives you to do that. Like I got to do it. Like
right.
it's a must. I have to. It's that mountain that you have to to climb, regardless of what anybody says. So anyway, but I love to talk to you more and more about
I know
coaching and
I
intuitive
love the
reading.
subject. I can speak about it a lot. Yeah, absolutely, Susan. Thank you so much for like you asked me such valuable questions, because some questions I knew some answers I knew intuitively, but I couldn't really formulate them in the sentences. So thank you so much. I should write them down after our conversation. Absolutely, it's most fantastic
Yes.
subject. It's so inspiring, and it opens so many doors.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's helped me with making a lot of decisions that I would have talked myself out of had I not just trusted my intuition. So yeah, it's amazing. Well, Maria, can you share with the listeners today, those that are watching, what do you have going? What do you have to offer them?
Oh, it's my pleasure to offer you the course that I already mentioned. That is a huge success. It's called Spread Your Artistic Wings Through Intuitive Arts.
Oh,
It's a long
nice.
name, but I didn't know how to make it like shorter. Plus, English is not my first language, and I'm really struggling with it sometimes.
Oh, you're
I
doing
feel
great.
lost. Oh, thank you. Well, I lived 20 years in Canada, so I studied. And yes, spread your artistic wings through intuitive arts. There's a lot of cool exercises that I developed by myself.
Uh-huh.
And they are fully showing my own path, from learning how to be intuitive, how to turn off this internal critic, and how to get to the point where you understand exactly what you need to do in order to add your authentic touch, an
Nice.
authentic touch to your art. Because the course is dedicated to being able to listening to your internal voice, and then to really get it out, and then place it on your board or a canvas, and then find your touch, find your authentic artist. And it's not only it's not just flat. There's also a section of intuitive sculpting. This
Ooh,
one
fun.
is fantastic. You sculpt, it's so meditative. Like you do all kind of like strange shapes. And I like results of my students are absolutely fantastic, and sometimes very unexpected, but
Great.
I could tell there's some interesting creatures live in their intuitions.
So if someone's interested in taking this class, where can they find it?
Okay, so is there any way we can have a
I can
link?
put it right here down below us right here.
Fantastic. And I want to offer a 50% off, of course, because it's my pleasure. I want more people to be able to connect to their intuition, to be happy. A little step, but this step is going to make our world a little better.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
And
Maria, for joining us today. And I was so happy for you to join us because of your intuitive artistry, and I'm a proponent of that too. I'm just like, everybody's got to like try to do something creative because it's such a huge tool. It's a huge tool. It's like meditation. It's like meditation. It can be meditation. It's a way to quiet your mind, definitely. And just listen to that connection of your higher self, your gut, so I really appreciate you being on the show today.
thank you so much for inviting me, because I had pleasure to talk about it, because this subject is very important to me, and this is something I do every day. And honestly, I just want to wish listeners to really develop this skill. It will make you happier, more balanced, more harmonious, and live a better life.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you again, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Create Happy Now podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you have a topic to suggest, please leave a comment below. Catch the Create Happy Now podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, and Podchaser. Check out other YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. And if you want more,
check down below for resources, courses, and events, or go to www.createhappynow.com.